Early access hotfix number 13 is coming in today. It is being patched as we speak, and there are going to be some rather interesting changes that I think a lot of rogue players are not going to like. But we'll talk more about those changes in just a second. Another thing that they just changed yesterday was actually they changed the high roller fee from 50 to 100 in the Goblin Caves and from 50 to 150 in the Howling Crypt high roller lobbies. They also changed the players per match down to 6 players only in the Goblin Caves and 12 players only in the Howling Crypts. They're trying to figure out which type of balance they want for the high roller dungeons, so that's why they're messing around with the entrance fee and the number of players per match. They also mentioned that tomorrow, Friday, the 22nd of September, 2023, they will be releasing early access patch number 1, which is the first big update that we're going to be receiving in the early access period. We don't know exactly what is going to be coming in early access patch 1, but we do know that they've been working on a rework for the Bard class, as well as other various mechanics and systems in the game that they've been working on. So we'll have to see what early access patch 1 has. They will have a Q&A tomorrow where you can go and ask the devs. I assume it'll be streamed on Twitch, so definitely don't miss that. I think it should have some interesting information where the devs are going to tell us more about what their vision and plan is for the game moving forward. Now, I don't know if they planned on making a hotfix the day before their patch, but I know currently right now on Reddit and on a lot of the live streams that I've been in, a lot of people have been talking about how the rogue one-tap meta is just out of control. I've seen silly videos where basically you have entire lobbies full of rogues, and as somebody that has played rogue, I definitely know that it is very strong, and even if you don't have like great gear, you can still do really, really well. The hotfix 13 is mainly designed to counteract a lot of the issues that people have been experiencing in rogue, especially in the solo lobbies. I think in the trio lobbies, the one-tap rogue meta isn't as important because even if you kill one of the team, chances are you're probably still going to die to the other 2 members. This is mainly an issue in the Goblin Caves map, but some people have mentioned having issues in the Ruins map as well, in the duo queue. Now, there's a lot of nerfs here that are going to be affecting rogues, and I'm going to try and explain them quickly and talk about what are the implications of each of these changes. Rogues' base agility has been reduced from 35 to 30, meaning that rogues are not going to be able to be just moving as fast, especially naked rogues. The ambush perk bonus was decreased from 50 to 30%, which means coming out of hide is going to be a lot less extra burst damage. A lot of people were abusing the ambush perk, not even hiding, they would just activate it mid-fight to get that extra boost of damage. The rogue's hide base duration, so how long can you sit there invisible, has been decreased from 60 seconds to 20 seconds. It has been taken down to a third of what it was previously, which is a massive, massive nerf to the hide ability. However, they have introduced a mastery perk that could increase the hide duration at the cost of one of your perk slots. They've also reworked the way that the weak point ability works. So instead of adding 50% weapon damage on the initial attack, it doesn't add anything. The armor rating debuff of the weak point attack was reduced from 40 to 25%, and the duration of that debuff was reduced from 5 seconds to only 3 seconds. In addition to all of these changes, they've reduced the damage of all daggers across the board. And the only buff that the rogue has received is they increased the resourcefulness from 15 to 20, making rogues a little bit more resourceful versus having a little bit more agility. We'll have to see how that works. But all in all, I think these rogue changes are maybe a little heavy-handed, and it's possible that with the community reaction, they may revert some of these, since these feel like some kind of blanket fixes, reducing damage, time, and things like that. There have been a lot of other suggestions in the community about ways to how to make the rogue relevant still, without completely making it useless. And I think a lot of rogue players, people that really enjoy this sneaky style of combat, obviously there's a lot of rogue haters out there, you know, let me know in the comments if you're a rogue main or a rogue hater, but a lot of people are worried that this just makes this class essentially worthless, instead of just tweaking it so that it isn't all about that one-shot potential. I'm really curious to know what you think about these changes. The rogue is a very, I think the rogue is a very divisive class. It either people really like it or they really hate it. And I can say personally, as somebody who's played the rogue and has died to rogues, that I like playing as the rogue, but I also hate dying to rogues. So I think that although it may be a fun game style for the player of the rogue, to everybody else, they don't like the randomness of randomly just getting one shot out of the dark. And even if, you know, we can talk about using like the light orb for the wizard or the bard spell to find hidden players, but regardless of anything that you run, the game shouldn't be revolving around how to find rogues. Like that shouldn't be the number one focus as you're going through the dungeon of, oh my gosh, are there rogues here? Am I just gonna die randomly? I definitely think that you should play tactically and everything, but I think that the base duration of the hide going down is going to make it so that you're just not gonna be able to hide for as long. Now that being said, if you're waiting in a room, you're not gonna be hidden already. Most rogue players that are like waiting for somebody to walk around a corner to stab them, they're not waiting in invisibility. They're waiting regularly. Once they hear the jingle of the door opening or they hear somebody's footsteps coming, that's when they activate the ability. So I think for players out there that are still worried about rogues, although I'm not sure how much you have to worry about, we'll see how devastating these changes are to the actual damage output. But you're gonna be able to just kind of move more slowly through rooms, and if they are invisible, they're not gonna be able to stay invisible for very long, which means you're gonna be able to counteract them and have to have more of a stand-up fight. Now the other changes in hotfix 13 were to the cleric. The cleric's base strength was increased from 11 to 13, agility from 11 to 12. These are rather small tweaks. The base will was decreased from 30 to 25, and and resourcefulness was increased from 5 to 7. All in all, it's actually 5 points of increase in total and 5 points of decrease in total. So the cleric has just had the stats kind of shifted around a bit, adding a little bit of strength, agility, and resourcefulness while decreasing the overall will. There was also a bug about duping gold coins, which I wasn't aware of until now, but that being said, it really does feel like the economy is kind of whack right now. We've had so many crazy things that have happened since the last wipe. Even though it wasn't that long ago, it really does feel like the economy is kind of in a weird place, and I've heard some people asking for wipe. Hi everyone, Future Jordan here. Hotfix 13 patch just finished, and they released a little blog post on their website talking about the early access patch 1, which is actually now scheduled for Tuesday, September 26th, as opposed to Friday. So they've pushed it back until next Tuesday, which is kind of unfortunate, but understandable since they are doing this hotfix 13 today on Thursday. Additionally, they are going to be doing another early access wipe number 2, in conjunction with that patch on Tuesday, September 26th. The main reason why they said they're going to be wiping is due to this gold duping bug that they fixed in hotfix 13. All those accounts that were involved with it should be banned. So yeah, something a little bit special about the wipe number 2 that's happening next Tuesday again will be that all of your inventories, all items, all gold, all that will be wiped. However, you will actually keep your characters and your level progression again. This means you don't have to create new characters with new names, and you don't have to level them up again. You'll just start off from 0 loot, which honestly I think is kind of nice, especially since it was such a short wipe. Having to level back all of the characters again after, 2 weeks or so, it's only been about 2 weeks, would kind of suck. So just wanted to pop in and let you all know that I'm cutting out what I was about to say, and they are going to wipe it next Tuesday, along with the early access patch 1, which should bring in a lot of cool changes. They say the early access patch 1 will also introduce sweeping balance changes that will affect almost every class, weapon, and item in the game. I think it's gonna feel like a completely new game. I'm very excited for it. Back to the past, what I was talking about. Now I just want to share a couple of final thoughts before I go, but basically a little reminder to everybody that the devs are not necessarily trying to balance everything right now. They're not hoping that this game is completely balanced, and it's obvious that there are unfinished classes that they're working on rebalancing or reworking. So in this moment of, revamping, working on a lot of different things, figuring out what they're, how they want the game to play out, I think that we as a community need to keep that in mind. And, obviously, like, they felt like this rogue one-tap meta was important enough to do an emergency hotfix. But I do think people, need to keep in mind that the balance and stuff is going to change. The most important things we need to decide as a community is how we want the game to play. What do we want how do we feel about the gameplay loop? And I think in general, we all kind of agree that it's really great. And, and that's a good sign. That's a good sign that balance is our biggest problem right now. But obviously the devs are focused on figuring out what the future of the game is, how they want these different game mechanics to work. So if you appreciate this kind of conversation and breakdown of different patch notes, definitely subscribe to the channel, as I will be continually updating you about the changes that are coming to the game. Thank you all very much for watching to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. You all are the best, and I love you all. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.